When it comes to the use case, I think you heard about that now. Obviously, those are the ones that everyone is either trying around the world or thinking to introduce very quickly. So obviously AR and the metaverse, obviously cloud gaming, the network slicing, the fixed wireless access I was discussing just a few minutes ago, the IoT, both the critical IoT, but also the massive IoT and private network. All those are kind of being deployed as we speak, and that is kind of becoming obvious that those one will be popular. But I think the most important thing is actually that we deploy the 5G network, because once you deploy a 5G network, a very high quality 5G network, then what will happen, you cannot even imagine. It will be much more than that. That is what has happened with 4G. We did not really know how much 4G would be successful when we were deploying 4G. And I think the same will happen with 5G. I mean, one thing is for sure, the countries that will have the 5G connectivity up and running will have a big advantage versus others that will be late instead. If we talk about India and how 5G will help India, I mean, obviously, I mean, you heard the Prime Minister this morning. I mean, it will provide digital inclusion. And it will provide, obviously, not only digital inclusion, but very often that means also social inclusion and financial inclusion. I mean, one data for India, in 2017, all Indian population in 1 year, they were doing 16 million banking transactions. 16 million, 16 million in 1 year. August 2017. August 2022, 4 years or 5 years later, the number of mobile banking transactions have been 6.6 billion, 400 times more. Obviously, that is possible only because 4G was obviously kind of developed. And this is providing, obviously, digital inclusion, but also financial inclusion. Because everyone understands that in whatever place in India you are, if your business competitor can have a transaction via phone and you don't have it, then you need to have it. Obviously, the industry, they will leverage on 5G, and I will say few things about that, and obviously sustainability as well. And I have a slide on that as well. These are some projections from our mobility report. What this slide says is that obviously India is a great market, it's a scale market, but not all. It is also a market where if you want to be successful, I mean, you need to have the latest and best possible technology. Few years back, India was a mass market, low cost. Now it is a mass market, but with extremely kind of high ambition. 5G will go very fast in India. In 2027, there will be already 500 million people with the 5G subscriptions, which will represent around 40% of the total mobile broadband customer base. I mean, today, there are around 700, 800 million mobile broadband subscriptions, and that will grow up to 1.2 in 5 years, out of which 500 will be 5G. So a great success, which is the orange piece there. The blue, which is GSM, will still be there to support some services, IoT and some subscribers, but it will be of a less importance. When it comes to the traffic as such, again, 5G will represent more than 50% of the total traffic. That also tells something, that without 5G, I mean, the basic service is really enhanced mobile broadband. Because without 5G, you could not provide such capacity to the Indian population. So I think it was super wise from the government to go with the spectrum auction exactly now. Technology is available, is mature, and the country needs it. Super well done. By the way, India is already, I think, the second in the world when it comes to mobile broadband consumption. And I think it will keep the lead, and in average, we will go from 20 gigabit per month up to 50 giga per month in the next 5 years. And that's average. It's not only the new one, but it's everyone going up. So it will be a tremendous capacity increase. I was mentioning fixed wireless access before. I think, again, having 5G nationwide and the spectrum available is giving to India a tremendous opportunity to use fixed wireless access so that you can connect a million and million of houses that today are not connected. This is a fantastic opportunity for the industry, but also for the country to remove the digital divide. We also did a survey in India, specific in India. So we went around, obviously asking the enterprise, will you use or not use 5G, right? And obviously the answer was that 80% of the enterprises, they did show their willingness to use 5G in the next 2 years, before the end of the next 2 years, and 50% in the next 12 months. The reason why they want to use 5G is obviously to reduce their dependency from a fixed connection because of the nature of the business they have. I mean, fixed connections are not always available. They want to accelerate the process automation, and they want also 5G to support new ways of working. And this one is maybe the most important, because if you don't do that and you do not do it well, actually you might disappear, right? It's not only that you will not improve your business, but someone else can do your business in a completely different way based on the digitalization capability. So it's tremendous kind of willingness from the local SME, enterprise, medium, big, to really jump on the 5G platform. And by the way, it's the same on the consumers. We did a survey, and if you take the Indian consumers on the mobile broadband, I mean, their willingness to change from 4G to 5G service is 2 or 3 times higher than in other countries where 5G has been launched. And this, I think, tells a lot about India, right? I think Ericsson, if we take Ericsson, we have 22,000 people working for Ericsson in India, and the majority of them are working for Ericsson Global. So we have already now in India thousands of Ericsson employees that are working to deploy and maintain 5G networks outside India. So it is already today for us the biggest source of competence in the world when it comes to 5G. Why I'm saying so, it's not to kind of try to sell anything about Ericsson, but just to sell something about this country, where with the demography dividend and the willingness, the hunger of the people to innovate, and they have been showing that on 4G, India is a unique opportunity based on the 5G network to create the world-class 5G ecosystem in the world. It's already the 3rd country when it comes to startup. Super good opportunity for the country, and obviously for all the industries that wants to invest in this country. These are some fact analytics. I think it was mentioned by the Prime Minister this morning as well. With 5G in the next 20 years or so, a little bit less, India can have an upside of GDP of around $500 billion, which are directly connected to the 5G. And then obviously it's much more if we count the indirect business. Obviously the sectors that can benefit more are the agriculture, the manufacturing, retail, ICT, and finance, as I said before. And 5G will play, the technology, ICT, will play a big role to reach the country's target when it comes to carbon emission reduction, for 2 reasons. First of all, I mean, all this capacity, I mean, we could not provide with an old technology. With the new technology, it is much more energy efficient. So we will provide much more with much less when it comes to energy consumption. So it's kind of direct contribution. And then the indirect contribution is because of providing a digital platform to the enterprise. Obviously, they can go digital rather than physical and help them to reduce carbon emission. And almost at the end, this is what I was talking about before. I think in India you have everything. I mean, we have the competence, it's very young. There is one of the best startup environment in the world. There is the hunger to innovate, and you have the government that is supporting Digital India, Made in India. And in a few months, I think you heard this morning Bharti and Nunzio, and also Vodafone Idea. I mean, it seems that their intention is to accelerate as much as they can. This means that in few quarters, this country will be one of the best connected 5G countries in the world. So it will be the perfect gym for all those characteristics to prove themselves. I think it is actually, when I was on stage a few years back and also kind of to introduce myself, I said India is a great place to be for many, many reasons, but obviously for our industry. Now, after a few years working in this country, I can only say that it's even greater than a great place to be. It's really a fantastic place where, with our industry, it's not only business as such, but we are kind of honored because we are contributing with our technology, with our hard work, to create something that will be kind of stay in the history of this country. I mean, super well done by the government and by everyone, actually. With that, good luck to everyone. It has been great to meet many of you face to face again, and thank you.